love, Scarlet Everose here. Welcome back. Last time we explored the intensity behind Megami's Fujiguro. Today we're stepping into a completely different mindset. One that's calm, structured, and intentional, Kento Nanami. If you're new here or new to Jujutsu Kaisen, don't worry. We're keeping things spoiler light while still diving into what makes Nanami such a standout. Before we get into everything, I just want to take a second and say I really appreciate you all. The support and the engagement, it honestly means a lot, and it makes doing these deep dives even more fun and meaningful. Yes. So before we say everything else about Nanami, I just want to say I cannot believe we're on episode 42, you guys. I'm really excited. I can't wait to do a lot more deep dives and a lot more anime analysis, and I am super excited for new anime content to come. I cannot believe, spoilers ahead here, I cannot believe Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is, Part 1 at least, is officially over. We don't know when it's gonna come back, but that doesn't stop me from, doing character analysis about other characters. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Alright, and if you guys want to follow my socials, as always, they're down in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. Segment 1, who is Nanami at his core? When you look at Nanami, the first thing that stands out isn't power, it's control. He is someone who values structure, routine, and responsibility above everything else. And what defines him? A strong sense of duty that guides his decision, a preference for logic over emotion. So, real quick about Nanami. He is that type of character where he looks extremely serious. He is a lot different from Gojo, Gito, Megami, Yuji. I've done all of these 4 characters. If you guys want to see their episodes, they're up in the title card. He's very serious. Nanami is very serious. To be honest, he was, I wouldn't say my least favorite character, don't come at me, but he was a character where I thought he was kind of too rigid until, spoilers ahead, until his character started to develop. He worked at an office, for a very long time. He always thought of money, but he was a sorcerer, and he also, in season 2 of the Jujutsu Kaisen, he also went to Jujutsu High, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Harry Potter a little bit. Kind of reminds me of how the adults went into the Harry Potter world just like their kids. It's very interesting, but yeah, I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen is like a generational school. So Geto, Gojo, Nanami, their other friend, Shoko, I forgot this other guy's name. He gets, killed in the series though, but he was very close with Nanami, and when Nanami becomes an adult, all he cares about is money, and he works at a corporate job that he doesn't really like, and he goes into this cafe every time, and he sees the cashier girl, and she has a cursed energy, and he gets the cursed energy off of her, and she's very sweet to him, very polite. And you can tell he has a soft side to him, but he's very rigid with it. And he can be very selfish at first. He was very selfish with, yes, he cared about people, but it wasn't his priority at first. And until, Yuji and his friends and everyone else, it kind of became their responsibility. And then, that's where he had kind of like character development, in my personal opinion. And it really does show you that some of the richest characters sometimes, always have either an emotional backstory or they really don't, or they're just like that. But I feel like 99% of the time they always came from a trauma story or an origin story of somewhat. And he has a mindset that builds on consistency rather than impulse. Nanami feels like someone who's already experienced enough of the world to know the chaos doesn't solve anything, so he chooses order instead. And when it comes to others, he doesn't overextend himself emotionally, like I just said. But he also shows up when it matters. That's the balance, is what makes him real. Segment 2. How he operates in action. Nanami's approach to combat reflects exactly how he is as a person. He's not flashy, and he's not trying to be. Everything he does is effective, efficient, and intentional. What stands out in his fighting style? He breaks situations down instead of rushing in. He focuses on precision rather than overwhelming force. He conserves energy, making every move count. Watching him fight feels like less like chaos and more like watching someone solve a problem in real time. So real quick, yes, he has curse energy and stuff, but he's very precise with it. He doesn't overuse his domain extension or his curse energy. He's very precise with it. He has, I'm gonna call it I don't know what his weapon is called. I'll put it in the text here. But, he uses that and he takes off his tie to kind of tell you as the audience and whoever he's fighting that he means business and he's not messing around. And he like I said, he's more analytical and logical with it more than just fighting with it. Yes, he can fight, but his fighting senses come from intelligence more than anything else. And he fights really pretty good, I ain't gonna lie, but there's some instances where, he doesn't, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a couple instances where he gets defeated in some sense. I'm not gonna say much on that, but he's a good fighter. He's just more logical with it. But he's an amazing fighter though. He knows how to fight, and when he takes off his tie, he means business. Segment 3. Why he sticks with people. Nanami connects with people in a quieter way. He's not the loudest, he's not the expressive, but he's consistent, and that matters. Why people gravitate towards him. He feels dependable in a world that isn't. His mindset is relatable, even outside of the anime space. He shows that strength can be steady, not explosive. There's something about the kind of presence that just stays with you. So, even though at first I did not like him, before he started to have character development, but then I kind of realized that, he's the way that he is because he lost someone very, important to him. And versus, like, just to put this in here, when Gojo, lost Gito, his actual best friend, but before the curse energy took over Gito's body, Gojo grieves differently. He's more playful. He's more confident with it. Like, he wants to make sure, like, everybody doesn't see right through him. Versus with Nanami is completely different. He lost someone, a friend. Well, they were on a mission together, and he's more at arm's length with someone, and that could be really relatable to someone that went through things. And a lot of people grieve. It really does show you a lot of people grieve differently. Some more show more emotion, some don't. And I think the reason why he's a lot more relatable is because Senzi kind of pushes people away because he wants to protect them and not and for people that he cares for not being in the situation that his friend was in at the mission. He feels that fall for it. So, and that can relate to a lot of people. So there's two ways to grieve. Some are like Gojo, some are like Nanami. Grief is different for a lot of people. That's why, try not to judge someone just because they're not showing emotion. It's not because they can't. It's because sometimes people go through something and they can't express how people expect to express grief. So what I would just say to that, be respectful regardless. Show them condolences, blessings, prayers to that person, because you honestly don't know. Your body can shut off the moment. It can feel intensity by whatever pain and feeling, that's why I'm trying to say, try not to judge, because just because they're not showing the way a grief emotion the way you would, doesn't mean that they're not feeling it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And Anime, when he was a teenager, he, even though he had his face covered, you can tell he was really upset by the death of his friend. And so try to be kind no matter what, because you don't know the situation that those people are going through. So try not to judge if possible. But I think that's why he's really relatable, because he's keeping the people he loves at arm's length so that he doesn't feel guilty or responsible for something that he couldn't stop or control, and he feels responsible for that. So that, now that I understood, why his character went through that, it makes a whole lot of sense. And to anyone that feels like, you're going through something, just keep pushing if you can. Don't let that stop you, and gravitate towards any anime character that shows you that, if they can go towards the light, so can you. Segment 4, final thoughts plus what's next. If there's one thing Nanami represents, it's this. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be impactful. Sometimes it's the people who stay consistent, who stay grounded, and who do things with intentions. Those are the ones who leave the biggest remarks. So real quick, you guys, remember, don't, whatever you're going through, be as quiet, confident as you can. I get it. That is a lot more easier said than done. But if you have dreams, if you have goals, if you, feel like you need to prove something to others, don't prove it to others. Prove it to yourself. Prove it that you can go through things that a lot of people think you can't, and prove them wrong. And that's what anime is. All these characters that I've done, you guys, express each part of one of us that has either gone through life, is going through life, or is the future of what you're doing right now. But it's a choice whether you stay in it or not. And that's what anime is. At first, he was very rigid. He didn't want to do anything with people. He was very selfish. He wanted to keep people at arm's length. But towards the very end of his life, he knew exactly what peace meant, and he knew that, and he fought until his last breath. He really, really did. And that's how all of us should be. Fighting until we take our last breath. But one thing is for sure, do it with intention, and do it because you want to, and because you leave a good impression on yourself and to the people that actually love you. Because not everybody is going to love you, and that's okay. And you shouldn't love everybody. Love them anyways, like the Bible says. But don't be a people pleaser. Do what you need to do. Continue living on. And don't let anything stop you. Not even the darkness can stop you. There will always be light at the end of the tunnel. Alright, you guys, thank you all so much for being here with me. More episodes are on the way, and I'm really excited to keep building this with you all. If you guys also want to know, on my socials I post a lot of Hunter x Hunter, and if you guys are wondering if I will ever come back to Hunter x Hunter, I probably will. There's a lot more animes I want to explore. And do deep analysis on. But I promise you, Hunter x Hunter will always be my ultimate anime, no matter what. Alright, you guys. If you guys want to follow my socials, you guys know they're down in the description below. Alright, you guys. As always, love y'all. Bye.